A very good evening. Welcome to Championship Live this Good Friday evening to round off what has been a dramatic day of Championship action on Good Friday. And it all started with a top of the table clash and a battle at the top. Well, it will end with the league's top side, Coventry, looking to extend their lead at the top to 11 points when they take on playoff hopefuls Derby County at the CBS Arena. That is the last of the 11 games that we will witness here on Good Friday on LFS. Only 2 teams have failed to score all day in the Championship. Of the 22 teams that we have seen, the 20 teams, we've saw play to this point, only 2 of them have failed to win, and they were, of course, Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday. So a day full of goals, full of action, and full of drama. And there's still one game to come, and it involves the side at the top of the tree. 8 points clear at the top, Coventry, after Millwall's victory over Middlesbrough at lunchtime. It meant that Millwall were up to second, Middlesbrough were down to third. It swapped those two, but it means Coventry have the chance to further extend what is already a great lead to have at the top of the table. And with games ticking away, the longer that gap remains, the bigger that gap remains, means more of a chance of a quick return to Premier League football for Coventry City. Well, they've been 25 years without, but they want that to end, and under Frank Lampard they've been very close this season. Let's see if they can get the job done in these final 7 games. A Derby side, as I said, who if they win tonight, it will be a big shock on the season, but it will also be a real one for them to get right back in the mix for the playoffs. A win would have them just 1 point off 6th place Wrexham, who drew earlier today. Let's have a look at the 2 teams then for this one, starting with the home side, Coventry. And they start with Rushworth in goal, a back 4 of Van Ivik, Thomas, Kitching and De Silva. A midfield of Matt Grimes, of course, Frank Onyeka and Josh Eccles in the 10. Sakamoto on the right, Esse on the left, and Sims through the middle, of course, as the centre forward for Frank Lampard's side. On the bench for Coventry, Radoni, Wolfenden, Wilson, Mason Clark, Torp, Bidwell, Wright, Kessler, Hayden and Markello. Lots of options, if needed, for Frank Lampard on the bench. For John Eustace and Derby, well, as I said, they're chasing a playoff place. They win tonight and they will be very much in the mix come Easter Monday. But let's see if they can keep themselves there. O'Donnell starts in goal. Ward, Sanderson, Clark and Merkin are the back 4. Lewis Travis is the captain in midfield alongside Banal and Clark, Bobby Clark. Ozo, Brereton, Diaz and Morris are the front 3. On the bench for Derby, Batt, Thompson, Fraulo, Smith, Price, Gordon, Adjimang, Allen and Forsyth. 2 sides with, again, quite a lot on the line tonight. An 11-point gap is what Coventry could have if they get 3 points. But for Derby, they could be a point off the playoffs if they get all 3 this evening. A lot on the line for these 2 teams. But of course, Coventry will be the favourites. But will they live up to that form with 7 games to go? Kick-off at the CBS Arena is next. A very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this Good Friday evening here on LFS. It is great to have your company once again after what was a dramatic 3 o'clock slot with 9 games live at the one time and lots of goals, lots of action. We're going to round off the evening with a nice trip to Coventry to see the league leaders taking on the Championship's 8th place side looking for a playoff spot. And they are seemingly the cut-off Derby. 4 points, Watford are behind them, but if they get anything out of this game tonight, that gap could be bigger. And they could really be the red line between the teams in mid-table and those with a chance to get playoffs between now and the end of the season. And John Eustace will be hoping that this Derby team can really buck the trend of previous Derby sides. And funnily enough, a Derby side under Frank Lampard that got to the playoffs and very nearly got to the Premier League. He's doing it with Coventry in a much more dominant fashion. The Sky Blues are in sky blue, and Derby in their away strip of dark grey with orange trimmings, and they get us underway here at the CBS Arena to round off a busy Good Friday of Championship action. No better way to end it than the league's top side in action, and side with a lot of expectation on what could come between now and the end of the season. And you know, we've saw them in previous seasons come so close, Coventry. This season they seem to be a cut above the rest, and are they going to prove that by cruising their way to the title and charging it after it was a difficult spell in their previous months? They've reaffirmed their control at the top, and they look like they don't want to hand it off to anyone else at this stage. That's nicely guided back by Thomas to his goalkeeper, Rushworth. Fed beautifully out to De Silva here. All the way back to Kitching. He will pump long down that left-hand side. One for the chase of Essay. And Essay's won an early corner. That was really nicely done by Romain Essay there. Coventry with the first corner of the game after just 1 minute and 22 seconds. Yeah, good ball down that left-hand side, and nice run by Essay. The most set-piece goals in the Championship this season, Coventry, 24. Derby have 20. They both love a set-piece and a goal from such position. Right-footed delivery from the corner. Headed away at the front post by a Derby man. Fed back in by Thomas. Cleared away again at the front post, or that left-hand side by Derby. Under a bit of pressure at the moment. That's a lovely ball through. Essay with his shots. Blocked to Sakamoto, try to keep it alive. He goes down, wanting a foul. Referee waves it away. They got a little bit caught there, Coventry. Should have that one all mopped up, and they do. Back to Rushworth. Our referee, by the way, this evening is Tom Neild. We see it here. Merkin on Sakamoto. He wanted the penalty, but he went to ground a little easily there. Tatsuhiro Sakamoto. See that, a chance for Essay as well. Great block in there. And by Matthew Clark. Ball over the top here. Well met by Thomas. Brought down though by Banal. Sakamoto tracking back, wins it back and gives it to Rushworth. It will go long. Off the head of Clark. Brought down by Essay. Not much possession in terms of on the ground. A lot of aerial play so far. Here is Rushworth, who will fire it up the field. Met by a Derby man and brought down by the Derby midfield. Here is Travis, out to the right-hand side. Trying to whip a ball from the wide there was Ward, and seen out by Roman Essay for another throw into Derby. By the way, my local team are in cup action tonight. That's why we've got the flag up, and I've got that on the second screen. So fingers crossed they get to another cup final. So I'll keep that on to my side, to my right-hand side. Just keep an eye on it. It's going to be a throw-in down that right-hand side. Derby going for this long throw, it looks like here. Could be something that works in their favour. They actually go short to Bobby Clark. Ball swung in from the right, but right into the hands of Rushworth. He had that well under control. He wants to let the run there. Just a little heavy, that ball. Towards Van Eyvijk. That was breaking down the right-hand side there for Coventry. One thing I have to say about Coventry this season, they're not afraid to be aggressive, which I think has been one of the most enjoyable factors of Coventry's play this season. Of course, free flowing in front of the goal, really strong defensively, strong in possession, dominant when they play, and obviously really skillful players. But I think one of the best things is the aggression that they want to play with, that they're never afraid to take a risk. They're not always going to want to play short. They want to take risks. They want to be more vertical with their play and want to get the ball moving quickly, and certainly offers up more excitement. There's a couple of the balls they've had in midfield so far, Coventry have just gone out for throw-ins, a little bit cheap, giving away the possession early doors here, which will not make Frank Lampard any happier. Another Derby throw, taken in by Travis. Oh, nicked away though, right down the touchline. Play on, the referee is playing on. Derby stood still for a second there. Here's Essay. Well seen out as Travis picks up. Tries to find the runner. Bernal was battling. Nice little 1-2 there as he breaks through, and he's got a chase on with Van Eyck, who gets back in well. And Rushworth clears, but again looked a little bit dangerous there. Well, after that early corner from Coventry, it's a lot of Derby played so far. That's another long ball. Carlton Morris holds it up well, and Bobby Clark picks it up on the edge of the box. Clark works an angle. Got his shot off, was well blocked, but really nice play by Derby. As here's Sakamoto in space for Coventry. Lays it into midfield. Finds Eccles. Feeds it out to the left-hand side. Finds Romain Essay. Essay breaking into the area. Essay across. Right down the throat of the goalkeeper O'Donnell, but end to end there all of a sudden. Bobby Clark having a shot at one end before Romain Essay at the other. Very positive play from both teams. I think this will be a game where counter-attacks could be countered in that fact. You could counter the counter. Bobby Clark does really well here. It's good hold-up play by Carlton Morris. And Clark does well to take it down into his stride and break into the area. Just in the end, it was well blocked, his shot. Some ball, they clear that away. Merkin linking up with Bernal. Now Travis. Bernal. All the way back here to Sanderson. Now Clark. Clark down the left finds Merkin. Into midfield. Bernal. Now Travis. Decent play this from Derby. Switch there by Matt Clark. Out to Brereton Diaz. Nice takedown. The flag's actually up against Ben Brereton Diaz. That's going to be a free kick to Coventry. When we talk about recent results, Coventry, one of the best in the league as of recent, as expected. 7 of the last 8 games have ended in victory. Only that home defeat to Southampton in the middle of March was their only blemish on that run. They beat Middlesbrough, which was a huge one at the start of that run, and then they continued to beat West Brom, Sheffield United, Stoke, Bristol City, Preston, and then lost to Southampton before getting back on the horse and beating Swansea last week, or a few weeks ago, sorry, before the international break. Ellis Sims tries to get involved in play there, but he was eased off the ball. He broke forward. And Clark making the angles and Cutting it up in midfield. He finds Morris, who returns it out to Bobby Clark on the right side. Back down the channel. All the way back. As we talked about, Coventry were on that difficult run at the start of the calendar year and a little bit in and out, really. Yeah, those back-to-back defeats away at Norwich and QPR, and then that draw with Oxford. It was a poor little run before their recent winning run, and people were starting to question whether they could withhold the pressure of the second half of the season and whether they could continue and get the job done and really complete the job. Because at that time, Middlesbrough were really coming on hard and really strong at that point of the season, and question marks were being thrown at Coventry as to whether they could just keep the consistency they've had all season. And then that recent run of form just goes to prove how good a team they actually are. I mean, they have lost just 7 games this season. Only Ipswich have matched that or even got anywhere near that. And Middlesbrough have lost 9, Millwall have lost 10, and each of every other team. So only 3 teams in the Championship have lost less than double-figure games this season. That's Middlesbrough, Coventry and Ipswich. Everyone else has double figures defeats this campaign. Free kick here for Coventry on the left-hand side, which they'll try and threaten. Again, set pieces, big play. Grimes will be the one to deliver. Right in the cut of the grass at the right about 30 yards out, wide on the left. Swung in with the left foot, right into the mix as Clark heads it away. Esse flicks it back into the middle, but Merkin clears. Trying to be guided towards Sakamoto. Merkin intercepts, but quickly won back by Coventry. Nicely picked up as it's played down the right-hand side. Esse guides it back to his man, and the strike! Oh, what a goal! Fabulous finish! That is absolutely unbelievable stuff. You gotta say, that is absolutely incredible. Cracking finish, and Coventry City take the lead. That is absolutely sensational. Onyeka the finish, absolutely incredible quality finish. Keeper was full stretch, reaching as high as he could. No chance. But it all starts with Esse's fight to win it back on Onyeka. Sakamoto was the target. He lost the ball. He couldn't keep it. Did well on Onyeka. Played it to Esse. Esse returned the ball. And this strike is absolutely sumptuous. You see it here. Sweeps onto it with the right foot. And it just catches at just the right angle. And it's just above the goalkeeper's hand and just inside that left post. Guided in by the side netting. Inside of the side netting. Absolutely gorgeous finish. Quality at its best. Frank Onyeka with the finish. Romain Esse with the assist. Coventry City 1 up on the night. Absolutely wonderful goal. And that's going to excite the crowd, and that's going to really rile this place up. Quality goal. That is absolutely unbelievable. Really, really good finish. And as it stands, Coventry City will be 11 points clear at the top of the table with 6 games to go. That's as it stands, which will mean they, at the moment, they know exactly what they need to get promotion to start with. 91 points would guarantee promotion for Coventry no matter what happens elsewhere. 91 points, because Middlesbrough can only get to 89, Millwall can only get to 90, and Ipswich are the only side that can beat that and get to 93. But even at that point, Coventry could still better that, and all they need is 91 points, one more than Millwall, meaning only one team could finish above them then, and that would be Ipswich, but they would have to win every single game. But 91 points would guarantee, like without a doubt guarantee, Coventry promotion back to the Premier League, which is just 8 points off if they win this evening. They might not have to worry about promotion in terms of finishing seconds. That's certainly not on the minds of Frank Lampard, and I'm sure there a lot of the crowd in here which have already started the chance if we're going to win the league. And rightfully so, they should enjoy it, because it's rare that this happens. Albeit they'll not reach the 100 points that Leeds and Burnley did last season. They're kind of be the runaway winners of over 100 points or anything like that. But what it comes down to for Coventry is just how dominant they've been this season, how strong right from the off in the campaign, how strong they've been in this league, and as I said at the start, a cut above the rest. And from the team that went to the playoffs last year, if you remember, Coventry, and were so harshly in the end beaten, if you remember, when they lost here at home against Sunderland and then lost at Sunderland in the dying embers, and Sunderland went to the playoff final and ended up winning the playoff final. And then, of course, you know, had a season off in 23-24, then got all the way to the playoff final in 2023 and lost on penalties to Luton. So they've been there and had that taste of possibly being back in the Premier League over the last few years, Coventry, and you just kind of feel this season is deservedly been their season without a shadow of a doubt. And Frank Onyeka, quality finish. I mean, O'Donnell needs to do a little bit better, needs to position himself better, but I think the strike, he just caught it so sweetly, and the angle that he caught it at just made it so difficult. Oh, lovely, well won back here by Sakamoto. He's in again, they're in again. Oh, he tried to cut back and Clark was in his way. Sakamoto sliding in and battling. He wins the throw-in out of it. Yeah, we see it here, Sakamoto just nips in against Merkin. See it here, and as he cuts back, he just loses the position of the ball and loses all control of the possession there, Sakamoto. But I think in that moment, probably should just go across goal, have a shot, try something, but tried to be too cute with it. Ended up paying the price and not getting the shot off in the end. Throw in it will come though. Long one from Van Eyck. Headed clear well at the front post by Merkin. Hooked up the field as Bobby Clark works it. Try and carry them forward, but Burton Diaz couldn't keep it, and Romain Esse was wrestling. Goes down wanting a foul and was actually not given that foul. The referee says play on. Sakamoto wrestles back possession off Merkin down that right side. Merkin sat down by Sakamoto. Here he comes. Plays it in behind for Onyeka. Back to Sakamoto, calls of shoot as Onyeka was on the ball there. Here's Van Eyck. Now Grimes works it all the way back into Onyeka. Nice Sakamoto, down the right comes Van Eyck. Sakamoto again, they're keeping the ball moving here, Coventry, keeping Derby trying to work angles and find the gaps, and Merkin did well there against Sakamoto. Another another throw in down that side. Well, of course, we talked a lot about Derby, or Coventry, sorry. We haven't talked about Derby, and, you know, we look at where they've been, and, you know, Derby, it's a massive rise to be in a playoff race this season, and I think a few of the sides in the Championship, in terms of the playoffs, I think have come a little early to the party. I mean, Millwall are very unexpected for where they are. I mean, they're always hanging about playoffs in the last few seasons. They've certainly been in the conversation to get in the playoff places. They're not in the automatic promotion places right now, so they're not where they were expected to be. I think I would argue maybe Hull are a little bit ahead of schedule in that front as well. They're a little bit, not overplaying it, but they're in that position. Wrexham are there a little early. I think Derby are in that conversation of teams where they're like, yeah, we're great, we're happy to be here, we're really enjoying being here. but now we want to do something with it. I think, the Derby side that finished 19th last season, just a point off being relegated. That's how close the relegation battle was last season. That, being back in the Championship and just being here was enough for them last season and getting to this point. But being in a playoff race, it's a massive leap from being in a relegation battle to a playoff race in the space of just a season. So it's a major jump that they've made, and they've done a really good job at it. But coming to Coventry is a tough place to go, and they did start pretty well, but that quality goal from Onyeka's kind of stolen their thunder a little bit from the start. Free kick delivered in, headed on and headed wide. Eccles' delivery, and the header is wide ultimately. You see it here again. Nice delivery, but it's one of those ones where you're kind of just chasing after the ball with your head, and you can't get as much accuracy as you want on it. And just headed wide by Thomas. It's just over 20 minutes gone. Coventry City 1, Derby County 0. Coventry's home record by far the best in the Championship this season. 45 points gathered at home. Only Ipswich are anywhere near that conversation. They've picked up 43 points at home this season. And actually, Ipswich are the only side to have lost less home games than Coventry this season. Ipswich have lost just once at home. Coventry have lost just twice at home this season. Looking to make it 15 wins out of 20 at home this campaign as it stands. Just 3 draws and 2 defeats. Cumulatively, they've dropped less points at home than any other side, obviously. Ipswich have lost once and drawn 7. As I said, Coventry have drawn 3 and lost 2. In terms of Derby's away form, they're actually quite strong away from home, Derby. Only 5 teams have a better away record than Derby this season, and that is 5 of the top 6 teams. That's not including Ipswich. Millwall, Coventry, Middlesbrough, Hull and Wrexham are the only 5 sides that have picked up more points on the road than Derby this season. And this would only be their 8th defeat of the campaign if they were to lose this game. They've won 9 away from home. Only 4 sides have won more on the road this season than Derby, and that's Hull, Middlesbrough, Coventry and Millwall. Here's Carlton Morris for Derby, looking for a response. Morris out wide to Merkin. Merkin's delivery flicked away. Derby keep coming back. Here's Morris again, trying to work towards the area. He tried to cross, that was well blocked by Van Ewijk. Behind for the corner though. And their first corner of the game for Derby. Of course, Carlton Morris was part of that Luton team that beat Coventry in a playoff final in 2023. Merkin to take this Derby corner. Left-footed delivery into the box and right into the hands of Rushworth under no duress whatsoever. Rushworth taking his time now with this goal kick. Again, I have to say though, from those long clearances, Coventry haven't really sustained the possession. They've given it away quite a lot. Deep ball into the box here. Van Ewijk with the header. Merkin wrestled away by Sakamoto, and a nice little 1-2 here. To send Onyeka on a run. He's away again, Frank Onyeka. He's got Ellis Sims ahead of him. Ellis Sims from the narrow angle. Great block in there by Sanderson. Corner will be to Coventry, but beautifully guided. Onyeka in behind. See this again. Great counter-attacking by Coventry. Beautifully fed in by Eccles to Onyeka. And then Onyeka waits for Ellis Sims' run in between the two centre-backs of Clark and Sanderson. Sanderson ultimately making the challenge to block that Ellis Sims shot across goal. One of his quality efforts, one of his favourites for Ellis Sims, that side swipe back across goal. Fabulous defending though, ultimately. Another Coventry corner, albeit though Frank Onyeka's gone down for the moment, receiving some treatment, so we're going to have a stoppage in play. Onyeka just getting some checks with his right shoulder here, from the physios. Well, I have to say these two certainly entertained in the reverse fixture back in August, the second weekend of the season. Coventry won 5-3 at Pride Park. They were 1-0 up, 2-1 up, down to 3-2 down in the second half were Coventry, and then they came back and won 5-3 in an incredible kind of 7 minutes where they were 3-2 down all the way back to 5-3. An incredible 7-minute period in that game, and an unbelievable result. Ball whipped deep there from the corner, drops at the back post and into the hands of O'Donnell. Onyeka still off the field, so Coventry down to 10 for the moment. There's Banel trying to create something there for Derby, but they have everybody back and under control there, Coventry, as they clear it. Rushworth and Sims actually takes it into possession, and Essay evading challenges for fun there, albeit was well challenged in the midfield by Ozo. Switched into Carlton Morris, who was beaten by the returning Frank Onyeka. Referee's letting a lot go, a lot of physical challenges so far, but he's letting the game flow, which I like to see. I like too many stoppages and all that rubbish. De Silva trying to find Eccles, a little bit heavy, picked up by Sanderson. Eccles come through the back of Travis there, and that's going to be a free kick to Derby County. Welcome in, Andy. Thank you very much for joining us. As the Sky Blues look in control all the same. I think at the moment Derby are having a little bit of a spell, but albeit Coventry have taken the lead and they're probably dominant, but Derby still look a little bit dangerous. I don't think they're out of the conversation anywhere near that position. That's going to be a free kick and a yellow card for Lewis Travis for Derby. Nicely done there, nicely won by Josh Eccles. And a free kick. And then a yellow card for the Derby captain. Rushworth. De Silva. Back to Kitching. Go long there, Kitching. Taken in by Romain Essay. A bit loose, but Essay is able to win it, fight and win it back. Been heavily involved in the game so far, Romain Essay. Of course, he got the assist for the Onyeka goal, but other than that, he's occupied a lot down that left-hand side and done really well. And he's worked it to De Silva, who, in evading a challenge, just overhit the ball out of play for a goal kick. But he just kind of rode the storm a little bit, Coventry, and the fact that they haven't been at their utmost best for the first 29 minutes. But you can see that there is so much quality in this team. that they look dangerous even when they aren't anywhere near their best or not playing at their best. And that's the issue that a lot of other teams have, that they just can't do very much about. Merkin, even when you are probably playing level with them and battling them and really making it tough for them, you still can't get the better of them on the score sheet because they've got so much danger and are so threatening up the other end. Nicely taken in by Burton Diaz, and he's got the better of De Silva there, and he's licked it back to Bobby Clark. Shot was blocked. Merkin fires across the area, but De Silva's the one to meet it and carries it up the field here for Coventry. Again, that counter to the counter. Eccles tried to keep it in play, as did Van Evijk, but under ultimately no chance. Game's been stopped for the moment. 2 balls on the pitch, which means the referee has to play a drop ball. And Clark gets the game back underway. The momentary stop. Well, as I mentioned about that 5-3 win for Coventry over Derby back in August, Coventry are looking to complete the league double over Derby for the first time since 2003-04. Bobby Clark firing in behind again. He's all over the place here, and Bobby Thomas has to take evasive action. He's making an issue for this Coventry defence, Bobby Clark. Fire ball into the mix. Cleared away. Again by Bobby Thomas. Battle of the Bobbies there. What a ball in by Ward, but comfortably taken in by Rushworth again, who's commanded that area really comfortably so far. Something they need to try and upset a little bit, Derby. Hard to do, but just try and upset Coventry in their own box here, just giving them all the time and space and allowing them that opportunity just to reset. Clark. Van Evijk. It's not Van Evijk. Lewis Travis. Apologies. Wrong team. Same number, but wrong team. Little 1-2s there. Derby, but again given away. Nicely one back by Ozo, but not before he gave away a foul. I think they won't see this as the biggest negative, though. Derby and John Eustace, of course. I think, being 1-0 down, I mean, you're playing away at Coventry. You can't always expect everything to go your way. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a real difficult evening. But I think you need to create. And I think they've struggled to do that a little bit. I think if they can get into more creative positions, make more of their possession, and I think at times they have played pretty well, I just think they just haven't got that extra edge that's got them into the right areas to consistently threaten Coventry in this first half. And I think that's something they'll look to improve on in the second half, or certainly towards the end of this first half, if they can. And it's easier said than done, but you need to try and stop the threat on the break, on the breakaways. But then you want to get pressure on the opponent. It's hard to find that balance of pressing high. That's also not giving away too much space in behind. Free kick here, though. Travis, right-footed delivery into the box. Headed away. Brought down by Clark. We will recycle it here for Derby, who've edged the possession in the first half, 55-45 in the visitors' favour, albeit Coventry have had double the amount of shots, 6 to Derby's 3. albeit the XG overall has been quite low, 0.20 for Coventry, 0.12 for Derby, so not much major goal-mouth action. That's a lovely ball in behind. Sims, beautiful touch back across goal. Couldn't get there ahead of O'Donnell. O'Donnell did just enough. Ellis Sims tearing it up there. Lovely ball by Sakamoto. Sims with a great run. Sends Sanderson one way, chops back on him to his left foot. Just as he comes back inside, he just couldn't keep control of the ball. Just escapes him a little bit. Allows O'Donnell to come bouncing in and jumps on top of the ball to make the stop. But Ellis Sims looking to thread in behind there. Great ball by Sakamoto. And a really good idea by Sims, just couldn't get the shot off in the end. Everything other than that, pretty good. It's something they also need to be a bit wary of, Derby, is the fact that they need to find a way back into this game quickly, because Coventry looked like, and I mean they did basically, score a goal from nothing in terms of, it was a half chance at best, and they've probably had better chances that they haven't scored or haven't got into the right shooting positions in this first half than maybe they probably should have. And I think at Ellis Sims one, we saw Sakamoto one a little earlier, and Romain Esse with one or two as well in this first half. So I think there's a couple of positions where Coventry players have got into the right positions, they just haven't found the finish. When it clicks though, that's when Derby need to be worried, because when it clicks, more often than not, they find the back of the net. And that's where they need to try and combat them quick enough so that they can't allow them to have that comfortability in the final third to create those chances. Again, Bobby Clark's looked a real threat, but again, there's not much end product coming from that forward line of Derby, and the attackers are just struggling to keep the ball in those areas. I mean, we've seen very little of Ben Barrett and Diaz or Benal. Something they need to just try and find a way to get them, force them into the game with more of the ball, but doing less with it. A tricky spot to be in, especially away from home against such a good side in Coventry, who will punish you if you give them an opportunity. Clark. Matt Clark striding forward. Clark still going. Whips one into the box. Back post. Headed in. Ben Barrett and Diaz. Right on the end of that. Absolutely wonderful. Matt Clark strode forward, strode forward, strode forward. Had the whole of the CBS Arena at his mercy. He whipped the ball in so beautifully to the back post, and diving onto it was Ben Barrett and Diaz to find the Derby leveller. Beautiful goal, but this again, it's a little bit weak from Coventry. Clark does really well, but there's three players around him, and not one of them wants to make a really convincing, hearty challenge. Just tiptoeing around him, and Clark does really well. A beautiful delivery, Matt Clark. Swung in from that left side with that left peg right to the back post. I mean, it's half-hearted from Rushworth to try and get near it. It's a bit high for him, but Ben Barrett and Diaz alive and alert at the back post, and he heads in a Derby equaliser. Coventry 1, Derby 1. Game on at the CBS Arena, and that is right at the perfect time for the visitors. That was a beautiful goal. And it comes at the right moment for Derby. As I said, Coventry making one or two half chances. They just need to cut that out and find their way back into this game. And that they have. They've got themselves level. Can they use it to kick on? 9 points clear. Coventry would be as it stands. A major gap it would remain, but a little bit less than they would like this evening. But I have to say, I don't think they can really complain as to the position they're in at the minute, Coventry, because I think they've kind of coasted their way through this first half a little bit. I think they've created some good chances, but at the same time, I don't think they've been in control or they've been dominant in the way that they've played. I think they've been a little bit tappy about. Play this pass, play that pass, instead of just controlling the game, shutting everything down that Derby have created. And yes, to a point, Derby really had struggled in the final third up until that goal. But they had a lot of possession. And in this league, when you give teams chances and a possession, no matter how good you are, they will create chances. And that was beautifully done. Well, not one at the last long, because here's Ellis Sims charging away. He's brought down ultimately, but no foul, fairly challenged, said the referee. Rightfully so. Just over 4 minutes to go in the first half, and it's Derby. They're in the ascendancy at the moment, because here's Bobby Clark. Swings one to the right-hand side. Burton Diaz sips it into the box. Laid away by Kitching. And he gets it cleared long. They're under pressure a little bit here, Coventry. Need to kind of shake themselves a little bit. On the back foot here. Ball into the box, cleared away by Bobby Thomas. Brought down by Matt Clark. Merkin back to Clark. And back across to Sanderson. Ball swung out to the left-hand side. Nicely taken in by Benal. Wrestling with Van Evijk, but Van Evijk wins it back. And now Eccles. Wrestling, battling, keeping a hold of the ball. It's Sakamoto now. Van Evijk. Into Onyeka. Now to Kitching. He's got space ahead of him. Feeds it down the left. De Silva linking up with Essay. Essay tiptoeing towards the box. Remain Essay. Trying the cross. Blocked. And that will drop behind for a Coventry corner. A little bit better from Coventry there. A little bit more patient. A little bit more kind of indicative of what they want to do. A bit more convincing. The way they played forward there. Two and a half minutes of the first half to go. Josh Eccles will take this corner. Good-footed delivery up and over the head of everybody in there. Even Ellis Sims. And that's gone out behind for a goal kick. Cutting a frustrated figure is Frank Lampard on the Coventry City bench. John Eustace looking a little bit more positive than he was before. That's kind of the point I was making, that Derby could have felt from what they had already seen from their team in the first half and up to before they even scored the goal. I think they were playing well. It's just, as I said, they needed to find that threat in the final third, and they did in the wide areas. I mean, Matt Clark whipped it in, and Ben Burton Diaz headed in. But for Coventry, they need a lot. They need to do a lot more, because if they want to win this game and want to win it the way they've won all season, they've not played to their level so far in this first half, and Derby have taken advantage of that, and credit to them. They've actually played pretty well, Derby, and deservedly our level, but it's all about doing it for the full 90. That's kind of what they had against Coventry in the reverse. They were 3-2 up, they were leading the game, and then all of a sudden it fell apart and they were 5-3 down in the space of a couple of minutes. So it can very quickly change, but I think they've played really well, and they've played strong in this first half, Derby. That's what I can say. They've been well in the fight. That's all you really can ask for against Coventry. Whether you win from that position is another question, but the way Coventry have played this season, all you can really ask for is to be in the fight, to be battling, and to be giving them a good game. And so far, Derby are certainly doing that. Last few seconds of the first half, we'll see how long will be added on. Now, 3 additional minutes is what we will have. Oh, loose ball given away here! Big chance for Bennell, great save by Rushworth. Now Morris. Morris across, drops down Bennell, couldn't get a shot off. Derby are scrambling here to get something out of this as Coventry scramble to clear it away. What an opportunity for Bennell. Right one-on-one, Jaden Bennell against Rushworth. See it here, the ball, bit of head tennis. Onyeka gets the loses kind of the control of it, then just flicks it back, but miscues it, and it's played beautifully through for Bennell, who sets up for the strike, guides it back across goal, and then really well stopped by Rushworth. He made himself as big as he could from that position and made the stop. And a crucial stop, because Coventry could have found themselves behind. Throw in here down the right hand side for Derby. Bouncing ball there, just wrestling was Carlton Morris with his man, and referee, or he felt that he was fouled, Carlton Morris, or was being held at least. The referee didn't see it enough to be a foul. Rushworth to take this goal kick. Last couple of seconds of the first half. Battling there is flicked into the air by Burton Diaz. Bennell trying to get on the end of it. It's picked up by Romain Esse, who was dispossessed by Ozo, and a flick ball in behind for Bennell to chase, but Rushworth gets there first and Van Evijk clears. Again on the back foot it seems here a little bit. Coventry, here's Ozo, eking away from a few challenges, but again they just scramble and clear. They're very panicky here at the minute, Coventry. Brereton Diaz, wide it goes to Ward. Ward whips deep, Morris back across, the header, directed wide, Clark wins the corner. Coventry are all over the place and Derby are all over them. It's the Derby show at the minute. But they cannot find that second goal. And probably they deserve to. Coventry are all over the place. And that's actually the final action of the first half. They thought they were going to get a corner. The referee said there was no time for it. At half time it is. In a first half, ultimately towards the end, the Coventry have had to survive at times. So after they took the lead through Frank Onyeka's freaky goal, crazy goal, before Derby levelled not long before the half, when Burton Diaz headed in from a Matt Clark cross. But Derby have given Coventry one hell of a good game, and the league leaders not having it all their own way. Half time at the CBS Arena, it's Coventry 1, Derby 1. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Baratskelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. welcome back to Championship Live here on LFS this Good Friday evening, as we are almost ready for the second half of the CBS Arena, where it is Coventry 1, Derby 1 at the break. Before all that, let's recap the scores from the day already. Middlesbrough were beaten by Millwall 2-1 at the Riverside after being 1-0 up, lost by 2-1 to Millwall. Birmingham 0, Blackburn Rovers 1, a big goal there and a big win for Michael O'Neill's side there at Birmingham. Charlton, despite getting back into the game, were beaten by Roy Hodgson's Bristol City. 78-year-old Roy Hodgson taking charge of Bristol City 44 years after his last win in charge of the club. Leicester 2, Preston 2. Preston took the lead in that, but Leicester fought back with a late equaliser to level. Norwich were pegged back late by Portsmouth. There's two sides, Leicester and Portsmouth, battling against relegation. Oxford United did level in their game against Hull, but that was all first half action. Probably could have won the game in our feature earlier. QPR 2-1 winners against Watford. Sheffield United were 3-1 up against Swansea, but it ended 3-3. Stoke 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0 was the probably most comfortable game of the day. And West Brom 2, Wrexham 2, after being 2-0 up, West Brom pegged all the way back to 2-2 by Wrexham. A reminder for you, where the Championship takes a break for a couple of days, and we're back on Easter Monday for the Championship, but it's FA Cup action that takes over this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and we start at 12:45 tomorrow. Kick-off at the Etihad. One of the big FA Cup ties of the quarter-finals sees Manchester City and Liverpool face off at the Etihad Stadium. That's tomorrow at 12:45. But a big second half to come at the CBS Arena. Before all that, Coventry 1, Derby 1 is the half-time score, and a big second half to come for these two teams. Coventry looking to open the gap to 11 points between them and second place Millwall, but Derby County want to keep their fight for European football, for playoff places in full swing, and if they win this evening, as I said, they will be just a point off Wrexham in the top 6. So very much in the conversation of playoffs are Derby if they get a result this evening. It'll be Coventry to get us back underway, attacking the left-hand side. Right to left and Derby left to right in the second period, hoping that can give them a little bit of a boost and a benefit. A boost they really need here, Coventry, so far. They were on the ropes at the end of that first half and probably lucky not to be 2-1 down, or at least anywhere near down at the break. Level, they would probably be pretty happy, considering the way they really crumbled towards the end of that first half, and in and around that Derby goal were just nowhere near it, Coventry. But Frank Lampard, I'm sure, would have had something to say at half-time and tweak things, fix things, see what they can do to improve. Here is Kitching, trying a long ball through midfield. A loose ball was picked up well by Grimes, but it was luckily won back by Coventry. They'll take it. Nice touch by Bobby Thomas. Space opens up in the middle as he lays it out wide to Romain Esse on the left. Esse taking a charge at the goal. Esse! Shot was blocked and deflected away from goal. Picked up by De Silva. Now Grimes feeds it in behind. Esse at the byline. Fires one across. Headed away by Clark. Bouncing down on the edge of the area. And that's going to be a lazy challenge by Onyeka on Bobby Clark that gets Derby out of trouble. Matt Clark very much involved at both ends for Derby so far. Defensively been everywhere really for them, but of course set up that equalising goal. That wonderful delivery from the left hand side. Kick by O'Donnell. Flicked by Bobby Clark, but retrieved by De Silva. Gives it to Rushworth, who goes long. Sims trying to get involved in the heading, but Clark wins out. Again, Derby are able just to recycle all the way back. And I said early on, I did say after Coventry took the lead and they were starting to really take grip of the game, around about 20 minutes, I said Derby need to take the sting out of this. They need to kind of take the edge off this and just kind of reset quickly and not allow Coventry to get into their groove and to continue trundling along. They need to put a fork in the road to stunt their growth in a sense, or to kind of stop them from continually just growing further into the game, because they had started pretty well, Coventry, but I think Derby did well at the midpoint of that half, and they started to come into it a little bit more, get a bit more possession, break the game up a little bit more, and that's when they started to be more impactful, when they didn't allow Coventry to play, when they didn't allow them to pop the ball around and do everything their own way. When they made a little bit of a contest of it, as I say, they ended up being the better team. Merkin tried to make the run down the right-hand side there, or the left side, sorry. It was blocked off by the right hand of the defence of Coventry. Van Eyck wins the throw. Long throw down the right. Sims was the target again. A bouncing ball that Sakamoto tried to make something of as it's hooked up the field. Ball bobbling around. Coventry just taking it under control eventually there. Played back by De Silva. Now Onyeka. On the left hand side to Josh De Silva. Bobby Thomas. That's a nice move here down the right. Van Eyck. Sakamoto cuts it back. The deep ball. It's too close to the goalkeeper O'Donnell. A little bit better from Coventry, but sustaining a little bit more. Nice to see that Van Eyck making those undercutting runs again, those underlapping runs. Starting to reaffirm a little bit of control in midfield though, Coventry, which garners a bit of an applause from the crowd. A little bit happier with their team's second half performance so far. Only 5 minutes old, that performance, but Ellis Sims getting involved in the build-up. Sakamoto was bundled over by Merkin. It's going to be a Coventry free kick. Well, Derby won this exact fixture 2-1 last season. The last won consecutive away league games against Coventry in March and December of 1988. And of course, November 2024. They won this game by 2-1 here at the CBS Arena. Jerry Yates gave them the opener. Bobby Thomas putting into his own net made it 2-0 to Derby before a Tatsuhiro Sakamoto goal got Coventry back in the game, but not enough to get them anything out of it. They lost 2-1 that night. Here is Sakamoto, whips it in, looking for Esse, but again Clark was in the way to stop that cross. Clark picking up the pocket. Lays it wide as it comes down the right to Bren Barrett and Diaz, who wants to go for the early cross, and it's dropped here for Benal. It was stolen away from him by Bobby Thomas just in the nick of time again. And Sakamoto battling down the right again against Merkin. That's a real battle that's continued all night, Merkin and Sakamoto. And again, Sakamoto wins the free kick. But we see this again. Lovely ball down the right for Bren Barrett and Diaz. Again, too standoffish, Coventry. Beautiful ball though, nicely taken in by Benal, and then Bobby Thomas does just enough as he goes to ground, and then he gets back to his feet quickly and just nicks the ball away just a split second before Benal was getting a shot off, and just escaped him. But two chances he's had tonight has Jayden Benal, and he hasn't been able to take either of them. Big opportunities not taken so far for Derby. free kick there, a foul on Onyeka. Lewis Travis doesn't agree that was a foul, but referee did think it was a foul, and that's what's been given. Yeah, I think it is a little bit. It is a foul. De Silva. Grimes all the way back to Kitching. Thomas. Lovely ball guided to Van Ewijk. Nicely picked up there by Eccles. Sims. Better play from Coventry. As they say, that ball given away cheaply there by Eccles, but the bouncing ball is retrieved by the Coventry defence. So far in the second half, Coventry have had over almost 70% possession, compared to just 42% they had in the whole of the first half. A lot more possession for the home side. Maybe that's all they need to kind of reaffirm at the minute. It's all about just building the possession back up, getting back in control of the game before they really do too much damage, or try to do too much damage. As I said, they got too impatient in the first half. They just kind of rushed things and allowed Derby to retrieve the ball and take a full grip of the game, and just couldn't keep a hold of the possession for too long, Coventry, and were being played out of the game, really. Just, as I said, start the second half, just settle back down and keep the possession. That's a fired ball by Onyeka in behind. It was fired as Romain Esse was chasing, but skidded well past him and behind for a goal kick. Clark to Travis, wrestling and battling Sakamoto, and Merkin again. This time it's Merkin that wins the free kick off Sakamoto. Long way to go. 35 minutes plus additional time. A lot can happen. At the moment, we're all square at 1-1. Coventry took the lead through Frank Onyeka. Ben Burton Diaz levelled for Derby. And as we stand, it'll be a point apiece, and 10th draw of the season for Derby. Oh, given away cheaply here! Big chance missed! Sims over the bar! Eccles and Sims with back-to-back big chances. Neither could convert. O'Donnell with a big save on Eccles. Sims picking it up on the rebound and firing over the crossbar. Again, it's really poor from Ward wide. He gets away with it massively here. Just tries to feed it back to his goalkeeper. Far too casual. Eccles runs in behind. He tries to slot it. Keeper does well, and then on the rebound, Sims steps up, strides into the area, just leans back and skipped over the crossbar. But two big chances there for Coventry, gifted to them by Derby defending. It was left a lot to be desired. They could not capitalise, Coventry. Clark in the midfield. Carlton Morris coming deeper, but surrounded by sky blue shirts, and Onyeka comes away with the ball. Nipped in there was Benal again getting involved, but he couldn't keep it in play. Coventry will retrieve. Kitching to Thomas, fired into Grimes, who does well. They just keep the ball moving under Coventry control. Nice reverse ball, beautifully done by Romain Esse, and he's got De Silva wide. He's got options in the middle. De Silva fired across. No one there to meet it in the end. No one could get a clean connection anyway. Better though. Lovely play between Romain Esse and his fullback to Josh De Silva. Really good combination play. As Kitchen comes across to put out for a throw to Derby on the right hand side here. A couple of moments that will appease Frank Lampard, but just at this moment, I'd love his side, I'm sure, to take one of those chances. Just to retake the lead again and use that to kick on in this game. The longer it stays 1-1, the more the thinking might go to possible substitutions that could change this game. They have got options if they need it. Coventry, a lot of goals off the bench. I mean, none more than Haji Wright, of course. And we've got an Ellis Sims who, albeit has scored 10 championship goals this season, but hasn't scored since the 2-1 win over Leicester here back in the 17th of January. Now here's Sakamoto in space. Skips back infield. Just recycles it with Grimes. Grimes waiting for the run of Van Eyck. Here comes Van Eyck across. Cleared away. De Silva picks up. Pushing on Derby again are Coventry. Eccles. Onyeka. Esse finds Eccles, who gets the space. And O'Donnell with the save again. Wonderful fluid play from Coventry. And O'Donnell comes to the rescue for Derby. Again, really nicely created by Eccles. He lays it to Romain Esse, waits for the run. See it all day long, but Eccles, that's just a touch that takes it away from the defenders, sets himself up. And as he has the strike, has the shot with his left foot back across goal. It comes off the left foot of O'Donnell in his way. And they have a corner here, Coventry. Grimes to take. Just on the hour mark. Coventry 1, Derby 1. Grimes' corner. Left-footed delivery. It's deep. It's, not fully cleared. Ellis Sims wanted the overhead kick. Cleared away it comes, though, as he miscues it. Thomas keeps it alive. Sakamoto losing out there. And now Ozo bursting forward. He's battling again with Sakamoto. He's not giving up on that challenge. Hauled and pulled at him. And they win it back, Coventry. The ball goes out for a Coventry throw, but John Eustace furious that Ozo was being held, and I think he was being held, but the referee said it was fair. De Silva. Grimes. What have they got in the locker here? In the final third here of the game. Van Eyck's cross. Headed away by Clark. Picked up by De Silva. Eccles. De Silva again. Whipped in by Grimes deep. Headed away by Clark. Popped around. Sakamoto plucks it out of the air. Up against Merkin. Sakamoto shields it well. Van Eyck into Eccles, who couldn't keep it. And Derby scramble clear with Ozo. Bobby Thomas wins it back, and he heads it straight out of play, though, for a Derby throw. But looks like movement off the bench for Coventry. And the referee's going to a bench. And it's to give a yellow card to John Eustace, the Derby head coach. And they're booking for the Derby head coach. And a substitution galore here for Coventry City. A triple change incoming. I'll tell you all about those in a second when I have the full information. Triple change. So we're going to see the introduction of Jack Radoni. He replaces Josh Eccles. Ellis Sims is going to be replaced by Haji Wright. And third substitution is going to see Romain Esse replaced by Mason Clark, Ephron Mason Clark. So Jack Redoni, Ephron Mason Clark and Adji Wright all on, and they have replaced Ellis Sims, Romain Esse and Josh Eccles. 3 attacking changes for Frank Lampard, and 3 players that have goals in this team. What can they deliver? Maybe hoping exactly that, goals. And Jack Redoni, who scored just 5 championship goals this season, but 3 of those have come in his last 3 appearances. Scored in the win over Stoke, scored in the win over Sheffield United, and scored in the win over West Brom, and got an assist in the game against Middlesbrough. That's his last 4 appearances, albeit his last appearance came against Stoke on the 28th of February. Missed the whole of March. In terms of Adji Wright, as I said, he's got goals in his name as well. 16 goals this season in the Championship. He hasn't scored since a win away at Bristol City at the start of March. Failed to score in his last 2 games. He didn't come on against Preston in the 3-0 win. And didn't score, of course, against Southampton in that 2-1 defeat here, but scored a hat-trick, of course, against Middlesbrough in the 3-1 win here earlier in February. And scored a total of 6 goals in his last 7 appearances, Adji Wright. So they've got goals and options off the bench. And Ephron Mason Clark, as I say as well, he's got 7 championship goals this season. He hasn't scored since a 2-0 win over West Brom back in February. Hasn't scored a home goal since a 1-0 win over Swansea back on Boxing Day. So changes for Coventry, and we're going to see a change for Derby. Patrick Adjumang is going to replace Carlton Morris. Adjumang, who scored in the USA's 5-2 defeat against Belgium in the international break, hasn't scored for Derby since they won at home against Swansea back on Valentine's Day. His last away goal was in a 5-0 win for Derby with Bristol City back at the end of January. Patrick Adjumang. Has 10 goals this season in the Championship. 25 minutes to go. Goals are on the pitch. Goal scorers are on the pitch. But will they provide what they're so good at? And that's scoring goals. Sanderson's going to take this kick for Derby. Very deep, and he's going to go deep with his shot, with his effort. Up towards Adjumang, a bouncing ball goes towards Merkin, who's wrestling, and ultimately seen out well by the Coventry defence for a goal kick. I love this second half. It's been all Coventry. 70% of the ball, a 0.99 XG. 2 big chances, 4 shots, 2 on target. Derby haven't had a shot in the second half and have had just 30% possession. Compare that to the first half where they had 6 shots. That's equal to Coventry. Much higher XG of 1.39. 2 big chances of their own and over 50% possession. A complete swing in the opposite direction in this second half. And I said at half time Coventry needed to get a bit of a shake and to really come alive here, and they have, it seems, in this second half. Created more opportunities, looked more of a threat. They now need to add the goal to it to complete the job. Bobby Thomas, Sakamoto reverses it to Van Evijk, who makes that underlapping run again. Rolls it back across, but nicely positioned in there was Travis, who broke it apart. Ajimang trying to hold it up, loses out. Now picked up by Jack Radoni. Radoni reverses it. Van Evijk deflected back across. Radoni wrestles into a position to shoot and scores! Jack Radoni, goals off the bench, and Coventry lead again. I said they had goals in their team on the subs bench, Coventry. Well, one of those subs has delivered a big goal in a big game, in a big moments. And Jack Radoni, who has now scored in each of his last 4 games for Coventry, is continuing that form. And he's given Coventry the lead once again. Really well created. He's the one that starts this move. You see it here. He picks it up in space. He reverses it to Van Evijk, who does really well. Cuts it back from the byline. But whatever Radoni does here is just perfect. The ball's not perfect for him. It takes a deflection. It's a little bit behind him. But he readjusts. He resets. He gets himself set. He chests it down. He reverses back onto his left foot and just rifles it into the bottom right corner. Really beautifully done. The essence of composure when Derby players were dropping to their knees and throwing their bodies at it. Radoni said, hold that, I'll spin the other way and fire it past you into the net. Coventry 2, Derby 1. Perfect goal, and you'd probably say it's been coming in this second half. Is it a coincidence that when Frank Lampard made a triple change in the 63rd minute, less than 5 minutes later, one of those substitutes makes the difference? And that reaffirms that 100% dominant lead that Coventry will have at the top. 11 points. They can still get, mathematically, they can still get 100 points. If they win every game between now and the end of the season, they'll get to 101 points. Coventry. They win this and then win their last 6 games, they will get 101 points. They will better last season's champions, Leeds, finished on 100, along with second place Burnley on 100. Goal difference won the title last year. I think it's going to be quite a few points this year between first and second. But how many? And who will be that second place team? We'll find out eventually. But we're no sooner to finding that out. But Coventry giving us a real clear distinction of who might be the winners. Here's Haji Wrights charging into space, and seen out there, Matt Clark did well defensively against Onyeka. Goal kick it will be. Yeah, but they're making those runs. They're moving really sweetly here now, Coventry, and I think it's quite a big contrast from the fact that, no disrespect to those who started this game, and Ellis Sims and Romain Esse and Josh Eccles, no disrespect at all, but the 3 that have come on, they're moving into spaces, they're keeping defenders clueless as to what's going to happen next, and it's that essence of uncertainty of, do I go with the man, or do I stay in my position, or do I man mark or zonal mark? And it's the confusion they cause. The movement is so good. Corner will be to Coventry. Left footed delivery, punched away by O'Donnell, who was caught there, said the referee, so a foul will go the way of the visitors. Just under 20 minutes to go. Coventry lead by 2-1. Jack Radoni, the one that has come off the bench and given his side the lead again. Doug King, the owner and executive chairman here at Coventry, watches on from the stands as Bennell is going to be replaced here by Derby for Oscar Fraulo. So Fraulo replacing Bennell. Kicked there by Clark. Right to the left-hand side. Bobbling ball towards Caoimhan. Picked up in the midfield by Ozo, who felt it was dragged down. The referee agrees, and that's going to be a free kick to Derby. Albeit this game's not over yet. We see Jaden Bernal. What could have been for him? He's had two great chances to give Derby the lead on the night that he couldn't take. Swings and roundabouts. Talk about how different this game could have been if Derby had taken the lead at any point in this. This game could have been very different. 17 minutes to go. And Coventry will look to continue as they've done all the way through this half, to continue to control and dominate and offer up nothing on the other ends. Caoimhan though, into the box here. Trying to keep it alive there was Bobby Clark. He did well to hold on to the ball. Ball fed into Caoimhan down the left, fires across, but far too close to the goalkeeper in Rushworth to cause any sort of concern. Well, Derby have won each of the last two games by a 1-0 scoreline. Portsmouth away and Birmingham at home. They lost their last away game. They lost their last game 1-0 away at Millwall. And in terms of their away form recently, they've actually lost 3 of the last 4 on the road. Portsmouth, they're bucking that trend, really. Millwall, Hull and Watford, all 3 back-to-back defeats on the road. As I said about their away form this season, Derby, this will be their 8th away defeat. It will be their 4th in 5 games away from home, which would really see a downturn in away form in recent games. That might just come back to bite them come the end of the season. The Coventry side have said have only lost twice at home this season. Last time out against Southampton at home, and Ipswich back in December. The only 2 teams to come here and come away with all 3 points. Only 5 teams have come here and got anything out of this game against Coventry this season. Oxford United, 10-man Oxford were one of those. Finished 0-0. Oh, here's a chance in behind. Burton Diaz brought down by the goalkeeper. Rushworth says he got to the ball. Penalty has been given. Rushworth says no, no, no. He said he got to the ball, but Burton Diaz went over in a heap. And the referee points to the spots. See it here, Burton Diaz. Was he fouled? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. That's not a penalty. Rushworth does absolutely incredibly fabulous. Not a chance was that a penalty. Burton Diaz was smart. He knew what he was doing. It's not a penalty. But the penalty's been given. And Derby will have another lifeline here at the CBS Arena. A massive lifeline that Burton Diaz has delivered. And can he take to make it 2-2 in the night? 2 out of 2 on the night. To level the game again for Derby. But can Carl Rushworth maybe deliver a bit of justice here? And probably it shouldn't have been a penalty. Can he make sure that it doesn't end up coming back to bite him ultimately quite unfairly? Burton Diaz steps up for Derby and slots it past Rushworth. 2-2. Burton Diaz seems to be the real devil here at the CBS Arena. He is making sure so single-handedly that Derby are giving Coventry one hell of a good game here. He levelled in the header, or headed in the leveller. I got that round the wrong way. He headed in the leveller in the first half to make it 1-1, and he's fired the leveller past Rushworth from the penalty spot to make it 2-2. Albeit It was never a penalty from what I could see. Fabulous goalkeeping, I have to say it was, from Rushworth. It's never a penalty. But the decision was penalty, and it was coolly converted, ultimately, by Brereton Diaz. I can see where the referee thinks it, but from a close-up angle, and we have the easiest job in the world watching a replay in slow motion and seeing it from such a tight angle. The referee has one look. I can see why he's given it. It looks from a wider angle further out that he did catch the man before the ball, but he got the ball first, without a doubt. And now Coventry have, again, work to do to win this game. Twice they've led, twice they've been pegged back. Can it be third time lucky for either one of these two teams? With 11.5 minutes to go, a lot still to play for, and a lot still can happen. And Evite with a long, deep ball into the box. Hajimang headed clear. Charging to chase it down was De Silva. And that ball will go out of Ozo for a Coventry throw, which they take quickly. Here's Mason Clark. Back to De Silva. Across now to Haji Wright, who comes a bit deeper. Grimes. Into Ketching. As they try and push on again, Coventry. And another possible winning goal. Sakamoto. Jinking inside and out. Works it to Van Evijk, who gets across. And Radoni! Oh my goodness! Effortless from Jack Radoni. Oh wow! That was absolutely beautiful. As cool as you like, a little flick for fun. Jack Radoni's got a brace, and Coventry are very much not giving Derby their daylight here. Brereton Diaz has given himself a brace to get Derby in the game, while substitute Jack Radoni has given his team a lead twice with a brace of his own. Sakamoto does really well. Keeps it alive, reverses to Van Evijk, who swings it in. And Jack Radoni, I mean, it's so cool. It's so I said about his earlier goal, how composed he was. This takes a whole other level of confidence. Just to flick it so comfortably, so sweetly, so nonchalantly. Incredible. Incredible. Coventry 3, Derby 2. Jack Radoni scores again. And Coventry are back in front again. The Derby leveller didn't last too long this time. Less than 3 minutes. And Coventry are back in front again. But this game has thrilled us in the second half once more. The reverse fixture delivered 8 goals. This one's delivered 5 goals. And we still got 10 minutes to go. So who knows, it could deliver more. Hajimang a little late there on Bobby Thomas. It's a little bit of a clash, really, more than anything. But Bobby Thomas gets the ball, cleans it out, and then just kind of kicks into the studs of Patrick Hajimang. It's a painful one. Not much that Hajimang could do about it, but he did get a yellow card for it. Well, I mean, no disrespect to Derby, but I think there's a little bit of justice in the fact that Derby got a penalty that probably shouldn't have been a penalty. And Coventry can right up the other end and score once again to retake the lead. I said earlier in this game, they always entertain you, Coventry. They always do. And they have certainly entertained us tonight. The best find a way even when they're not at their best. That is what they do. Winners win. In whichever way they can, and however they can, they find a way. And it seems like Coventry have got that DNA sewn right through them, that they find a way. So far, in this game tonight, they have more than delivered. This game is more than delivered. I mean, these two have shared 13 goals between them this season. 13 goals. On an aggregate score, across the campaign, 8-5 on aggregate between these two in these two league meetings they've had. Incredible. Here's Patrick Adjumang. Derby want to do it again. Find a leveller again. Done it twice, why not third time? Sanderson. Burton Diaz. Sanderson. Both sides now have a player on a hat-trick. Ben Burton Diaz plays it inside. Travis trying to work an angle. Lewis Travis still going. As it dropped to Fraulo, who couldn't get a shot off as it's cleaned away by Coventry. Well, Coventry have won 7 of the last 8 games in the league. As I said, the exception was against Southampton in that home game they lost. They haven't lost consecutively at home since September 2024, Coventry. Derby have won 9 away league games in the Championship this season. They last won more games on the road in a second-tier campaign in 13-14 when they won 11 away from home. As it stands, 11 points the gap would be at the top. With 6 games to go. 18 points. The gap is 11. They are within touching distance if they win this. Fabulous challenge there by Van Eyck. They've given it away cheaply with the clearance. 5 minutes of normal time to go, and you wouldn't bet against Derby finding another chance to level again, as that's well won. The free kick there off Fraulo. Is Derby going to make another change? I'm going to say Cruz Allen going to replace David Ozo in midfield. Cruz Allen replacing David Ozo. Well, for Coventry, we'll see them play on Easter Monday. And they head to Hull City, fellow promotion battlers. Hull, who took a bit of a blow that draw away at Oxford, albeit they keep their playoff hopes very much alive, but the chance to close the gap up above them was stunted by Oxford this afternoon. And Hull have the lovely task of welcoming the league leaders on Monday evening to round off what is a crazy Easter weekend all the way through to Easter Monday night. This Good Friday has set us off perfectly on Easter weekends. Lots of drama, lots of action. Full of goals. Burton Diaz fired into the box again, but right to a Coventry player as they scramble to clear it away. Matt Clark picks it back up and recycles for Derby. It's Derby pushing, Coventry trying to hold on. Coventry, they head to Hull, host Sheffield Wednesday, Blackburn away, Portsmouth at home, Wrexham at home for Watford away. You got to say, Hull, Blackburn, Portsmouth and Wrexham, that's 4 of those teams, apologies, they play in their final 6, have still got something really big to play for this season. 2 of them in a relegation battle and 2 of them in a playoff place. and battling playoffs. Still a lot to come from their remaining games, so they'll still have to be tip-top. They want to win the league. When it comes to Derby, they've got Stoke on Easter Monday at home. They then head to Southampton, host Oxford, head to Norwich, go away to QPR before they end the season at home to Sheffield United. Winnable games certainly in there, and a chance for them to really put their push for promotion and playoffs. Derby come again, down the left, swung in with the left boot, hooked and cleared away. Sakamoto follows up and bouncing ball goes out for the throw. Wobbling around as it comes into the box, goes down there a little easily, did Lewis Travis. Now Derby have a problem on the other end. A counter here for Coventry. Padgy right on his own here. Seen out again by Matt Clark. Who else for Derby? Absolutely unstoppable. Matt Clark's been absolutely impeccable tonight, I gotta say. Defensively for Derby, he's done really, really well. It's going to be a Coventry free kick here. At the halfway line. Got to see another substitution here for Coventry. He's going to see Matt Grimes be replaced. And Victor Torp is going to be coming on. Grimes with a round of a major ovation from the home crowd for his performance. And replaced by Victor Torp right on the 90th minute mark. And we will have 7 added minutes. 7 minutes. A lot still to go. I need to start counting the goals today because we've had quite a few. It's been really enjoyable today. .35 goals from our 11 games. As it stands, 35 goals we've had today. 27 of those in the 9 games at 3 o'clock. Only 2 teams have failed to score today, Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham. All other 20 teams that we've watched out of the 22 we've seen today have found the back of the net at least once. Quite a few of them found the net twice. Millwall scored twice, Bristol City scored twice, Leicester and Preston both scored twice, QPR did, Sheffield United and Swansea both scored 3 times, Stoke scored twice, West Brom scored twice, Wrexham have scored twice, Coventry scored 3 times, and Derby have scored twice. Incredible. Effort Mason Clark! Shot took a deflection, will be a corner. Yeah, Effort Mason Clark did well there off the left and swung in with the right foot as he flicked it towards goal. Took a deflection off the boot of Ward behind for the corner. Just allow Coventry just to eke more time out of the clock. Now, as I said, they need 91 points to guarantee promotion. It might be less than that, depending on what happens on Easter Monday. and what comes in the next few weeks. But 91 points as it stands right now, this second, is what Coventry need for promotion. They need at least 8 points. If they would win this, they would be 8 points away from back to the Premier League. 8 points from 6 games. That's the bare minimum. Millwall can get to 90. Middlesbrough can get to 89. Ipswich can get to 93. So theoretically, Ipswich could still very much get themselves right back into the mix. They've 2 games in hand. And those 2 games in hand could be crucial for Ipswich. They could get 6 points of those to be on 75 points and be just 8 points behind Coventry. We'll see them play on Easter Monday, Ipswich. They have Birmingham on Easter Monday at 3 o'clock. Of course, didn't play today because of Southampton's FA Cup tie with Arsenal tomorrow, so that game was postponed to a later date. That will be in the second to last game of the season during the week, a midweek game. Southampton will play Ipswich Tuesday before the end of the season. So that could be a key game for both sides when it comes to that point in their playoff hopes. And promotion hopes. 3 minutes of the 7 to go. And a throw in their own half here for Coventry. Jack Radoni, the difference for Coventry, off the bench to score 2 goals. And those fans believe this is their year, this is their time. They're so close they can touch it. So close they can feel it. They're nearly there. 2.5 decades these fans have waited for Premier League football to return. And they might just be right on the precipice of it. They thought 3 years ago they were nearly there. And they were nearly there when they got all the way to penalties against Luton in the playoff final. They took a year off, came back, fought, got into the playoffs last season, lost in the semi-finals, but have come right back to it and have made the league their own this season. And they have more than surely deserved it. They're not there yet, but they're not too far away. Bobby Clark battling right to the very death, but a minute and a half remains, and Haji Wright was away there. The ball overhit completely, but just a little less on it. Haji Wright would have been a one-on-one with O'Donnell to really put the game to a close. Travis. Brereton Diaz. Runs into trouble, was brought down though when he ran into that trouble. Jack Radoni with the foul. Free kick to Derby, minute or so to go. You never know. Well, some nervous faces. Chance for Derby. Last few seconds. Ward's delivery, right-footed, right into the hands of Rushworth. And that will be a major sigh of relief from the home crowd. Less than 30 seconds now remain. Ward picks it up. Fires down the right flank. Here's Brereton Diaz, but he couldn't get on the end of it. It's half cleared out for the throw in there by Kitching. One last roll of the dice for Derby County. One last effort. Joe Ward to take the throw on the right flank. It's a long throw, but it's now or never really. Launched into the area, headed away by Thomas. Ward recycles it, finds Allen, Cruz Allen's cross, deep to the back post, all the way through And behind for a goal kick. Ward does well, and Allen's cross is good. Patrick Caoimhan on the end of it. Just could not direct it anywhere near towards goal. Got something to it, just not enough. And that should be that, really. You would feel. Frank Lampard thinks so. This crowd thinks so. But will the referee deliver so? Rushworth will take this kick, and surely that will call to an end this game. A game that's ebbed and flowed, a game that's delivered all. A game that Coventry have fought from being pegged back twice. Jack Radoni, the super sub. And there it is. The final whistle goes at the CBS Arena. And Coventry City are 11 points clear at the top of the table. They are within touching distance of a return to Premier League football. Mathematically, 8 points is the magic number between them and automatic promotion. Who knows how many points between them and a possible title? But in terms of everything here, it's been a roller coaster ride for those fans. They took the lead. They were pegged back. They retook the lead. They were pegged back. But they retook the lead for a third time, and they did not let go of it. Jack Radoni with 2 second-half goals, putting what has been a great run of form for him when he plays. He scores, it seems. 5 in his last 4 for Jack Radoni. And I have to say, these two have delivered 2 fabulous games against each other this season. An aggregate score of 8-5 in the 2 fixtures. Coventry winning both after Derby won both last season. And Frank Lampard's Coventry, 25 wins out of 40 matches. They're the dominant team in this league. And they weren't dominant at times today. Second half was a lot better, a lot more in control, a lot more threatening. But you got to say the quality of Jack Radoni's goals were all on him. But you got to say, Derby give it a good fight. They're very much a team to watch between now and the end of the season in terms of an outside playoff place. But no doubt Coventry will be looking towards promotion and maybe even a bit of a trophy at the end of the season. Final score at the CBS Arena to round off Easter weekend, to start Easter weekend and to round off Good Friday and the Championship. It's funny. It's finished here. Coventry City 3, Derby County 2. And that is all we've got for you on Good Friday. This is the full list of results from the 11 Championship games that we've seen this afternoon and this evening. And look at the goals, look at the action, look at what we've witnessed. Lots at either end of the table. Absolutely wonderful. I've loved it. I hope you have too. And we're back tomorrow. Easter Saturday is going to be as jam-packed as Good Friday was, because FA Cup quarter-finals get underway tomorrow, and we start with a absolute monumental one at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City welcome Liverpool 12:45 tomorrow on LFS to kick off the FA Cup quarter-finals. We'll have Chelsea against Port Vale and Southampton against Arsenal as well tomorrow. But it's all been about the Championship today. Oxford and Hull played out a 1-1 draw earlier this afternoon as they fought at either end of the table. These two have promotion hopes. Coventry, very realistic promotion hopes and possible title hopes, certainly, with 11-point cap at the top. And they really believe now, this crowd, this team, that they can do it. And Derby, well, they're an outside hope for playoffs of their own after only being promoted to the Championship last season. The season before last, in their first season last season, they fought relegation. They're now fighting for playoffs. But without a doubt, Coventry are the best team in this league, and they have once again showed it. What did I say earlier? Winners win, and they find a way to win. And that's what Coventry have done tonight. Thanks for your company, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Night-night.